Good afternoon, friends. I hope you are having a good Sunday. Now, this is the weekly review for our webinar participants on 31st of October 2020. Now, let's quickly start with the US markets. That's how usually I start my analysis because global markets play a strong role in terms of impacting the Indian market. Let's have a look at the S&P 500. This is the S&P 500 daily chart. Now it's very clear that we are in some kind of a channel here, and let me take the Donchian channel off. So you have a channel like formation where you have, somebody can call it M. I think this is still a channel. It has not been confirmed as an M, and we could have this sort of formation. Reason for this is that the amount of liquidity that is there in global markets, it looks very unlikely that we are going to get into a bear market scenario. I would not be surprised if people, the moment they take this low out, start to say that we are getting a lower low, lower high type of pattern. But I think this is more an A, B, C type of correction. And once it is done, once the US election is over, we could head this way. Again, my opinion, and I reserve the right to be wrong, and it doesn't matter. Why? Because you are not trading a view. What you are trading are levels and a shorter term type of outlook. That being said, now let's go and have a look at the Nifty chart. On the Nifty, again, what we are having is some kind of channel like formation. Okay, if you see, this is not an out and out bearish market. You had a red candle, then you had a green candle. Then again you had a red candle, then you had a green candle. Again and again, from the lows, we are bouncing back. So the feeling I get is one of a corrective market at the moment. These things can change on the daily chart. On the weekly chart, you've had a big, strong downside candle and possibly 11,500 to about 11,600 is a very strong zone where the market should find support for some time. So weekly is weak, no question about it. Let's talk about the monthly. Even after all this fall, you still have a monthly candle which is in the green. Last month's candle is in the green. In terms of the pivot, we have the daily pivot at 11,642. We have the weekly pivot at about 11,703, and the monthly pivot is at 11,671. So somewhere everything is kind of coinciding with this 11,670, 11,700 sort of zone. What this means also is that if we are able to cross broadly 11,700, 750, we are likely to get a fairly strong upside. This also means that 11,750 is a sort of a resistance from where the market can get thrown down, and 11,750 for the next few days could be a strong resistance. So if you ask me, we are basically in the 11, 500 to about 11,700 zone. Okay. Now let's have a look at what each participant should do on a very swing trading basis. The swing trader should not be messing around with the Nifty right now. He should buy into the Nifty only above 750. In case he wants to sell into the Nifty, he should do that only below, I would say, levels of 11,500. Okay. So in between, he should not bother with it, because the odds are that the market could be choppy for the next couple of days. Things change post the US election, but in case the US election outcome is favorable, or not even outcome, market reaction is favorable, the swing trader should be getting in sync with the trend, which is still up, and for him the trade is to play on the upside once this all the story is over. Negative side, I don't think, has still opened up for a swing trader, so his bias remains on the upside, and he hopes that once he gets in, he should be able to cross levels of 12,000, and for him the stop is somewhere in at Friday's low. If that is not violated and we come out on the upside, he trades the upside. Now, similarly, for the intraday person, as far as the intraday guy is concerned, I think you are getting these closes which are not at the lows of the day, but every day the market bounces back to close higher. As an intraday player, if the market opens with a gap down, etc., we should be trying to buy the Nifty. If it opens gap up into 11,750, so gap down towards 11,530, 540, you try to buy, gap up, you try to sell. Now, the question here is, what do you do if you don't gap up or if you don't gap down? In my opinion, you have one pivot at 11,670, right? Which was day before Friday. Uh, the Friday's pivot was 11,670. The pivot for Monday is at 11,640. Again, Friday's low was 11,600. Thursday's low was 11,600. Friday's low was 11,540. And the close on both Friday and Thursday were close by. So this was Friday's close, this is Thursday's close. This means the trend on the downside is not very strong. If the pivots are nearby, that is the import. If you had a strong downtrend, the pivot should be far apart. So what I am expecting Monday to be is a day which could be like that, very, very sideways, and it should not break 530, 540 early on in the day, and chances are early on you have a bit of rally and the second half could become tricky because early morning you have results reaction. So that way, early morning I don't think the market sells off. Our call to action is go short near 11,750, go long near 11,530. Why you shouldn't be acting at the pivot, which is about this 200 period average, is because the market is not in a strong downtrend. The pivot or the 200 is respected when the market is in a strong downtrend. That being said, now let's look at the Bank Nifty. Nifty Bank, according to me, is the stronger index. Again, if Nifty on a swing basis is looking corrective, so is Bank Nifty. You can see these wicks. These wicks mean that there is buying at lower levels. On a weekly basis also, yeah, the formation is negative, but it's negative for Nifty as well. On the monthly, this Bank Nifty candle is still doing very well. So this shows strength. This means that on a swing basis, you are in a buy on dip mode. But where should you buy on a swing basis? If these two highs are taken out, the high of this is 24,339. The high of this is 24,277. So from 277 to about 350, if this zone is taken out, the swing trader can get long. Okay, the short trade for the swing trader is not on the table. So if post US election, etc., you start to go up, I would think at some point we will cross this 24,800 zone. Now that is as far as the swing trader is concerned. On pivots, the Bank Nifty pivot is very close to the Bank Nifty close 23,930. Okay, the S1 here is 23,582 to 24,247. Again, on Bank Nifty, it is expected that you have a sideways type of session. 24,100 is the weekly pivot on Bank Nifty. The monthly pivot on Bank Nifty is about 23,474, so very comfortably above it. So like I said, that Bank Nifty is a strong index. Now let's come back to the intraday on Bank Nifty. Now you can see that I have drawn this trend line which goes all the way back. On the hourly chart you can see, and this I have drawn just to show you that the 200 coincides with all of these trend lines also. So again you can see the 200 is coinciding with the trend line. Again, if you have to look at support resistance, this is the resistance zone on, pull it down a little bit. So 270, 280 is the sort of resistance zone. And the way to draw a resistance zone is like this, so that it captures all the points which are in the vicinity. Okay, so this is how you draw support and resistance. It should be touching maximum number of points. So this is a zone, it's not a line or a point. Again, from the lows, Bank Nifty went up. So either we have some kind of a gap up into 24,250, and from there we tumble down, or we have a gap down towards Friday's low, and from there we move higher. Again, the hint for this is given by the pivots of Bank Nifty. Thursday's pivot was Friday's pivot was 24,083. Monday's pivot is 23,930, hardly 100 points away. Even the lows were hardly 200 points off. So what this means is that each sell-off is not taking the bank nifty as low as the previous one. Okay. So this was what happened on the 29th. It came all the way back. Again on 30th it went down, came half the way back. So we are in a sideways zone. Now, which side of the trade you want? Somebody may say, I don't want to go long. Fine, you can go short here. Somebody else may say, I am willing to go long also. Again, this is the point. I don't think you should act here. Why? Because, you know, if you get some more data, each time you went to this 200, you crashed from here. Now this 200 is beginning to come down. Okay. So the better shot is, this sort of zone, because I expect the market to become sideways. Okay. This is my expectation and I reserve the right to be wrong. So here your risk reward is better, because if you go short here, your stop loss is still here. Okay. So that being said, let's try to have a look at a few stocks for the intraday. Hindustan Unilever. Okay. Here, the daily chart is looking very bad. What you want to do is get on the 5 minute and you want to, this is quite far. Okay. So you have possibly two trades here. Again, you have to take that call. It is a weak stock, no doubt. So any sort of rallies into this zone, which means if you gap up into 2100, this would be a sell zone for you. I am not interested in buying because this looks like a very, very weak stock. Then you have a stock like Bharti. Again, if you see the daily, very weak action. So again, what you want to do is, if for some reason you gap into this zone, 447, this is a sell. And If the markets move up towards 750, chances are a lot of these weak stocks will bounce. So these are your two sell calls. Why you don't want to short here? Because your stop will be above 200. Here, if you go short, and chances are Monday morning this 200 will come down further, then you can get short on this time frame. So where do you want to go long? I think TCS on a daily is showing upside. So this is a kind of a support zone. And by Monday, I think this should rise, the 200 should rise till this point. So you can easily have a stop below the 200. But this is a buy. Then you have RIL, where again, if you draw a trend line, it is trading above this trend line. And this trend line on a 5 minute looks like this. So what you want to do is this close at 2064. Okay. If you come down into this zone, then it's a buy. What happens if it gaps up? Then there is no call to action. Okay. You have also Kotak Mahindra Bank, which is in a very, very strong uptrend. So on the 5 minute, this is very close to the 200. So what you want to see here is it goes sideways early on, and then maybe post the afternoon it starts to break out. So these are the five stocks I have identified for intraday trading. What we can also do is look for certain stocks for a swing trading view, and those stocks are being sent to you. So again, the first stock for swing trading is TVS Motor. Okay. Now in this TVS Motor, you have strong support here. Also, if you go back, you are in a fairly decent uptrend. Now, this kind of a bar often has follow through, particularly after a decline. I would think TVS Motor first target is about 490, and then maybe even 560 is possible. Second stock is HPCL. Given this sort of crude decline, I think this is a kind of head and shoulder, and you could easily get to this 200, which is about 206. Another one is Amara Raja batteries. Now, what you can see here is that it sold off once, twice, three times, and the fourth time the sell off has not been as hard. So, my belief is that this time we could get past this 790 zone and could go up to 850, etc. Stop you can put here. So, this is how price action is important. Even on the intraday, if you are coming off the 200 but not very sharply, then next time around the 200 will be crossed. Bharti Airtel is another swing trade, and all rallies into this high of about 488 should be sold into, and my sense is that Bharti will finally move lower. And finally, you have Maruti. Maruti is making some sort of M pattern. So your stop is very close by, and if it starts to work, it can come down here. So that should be it for right now. Tomorrow morning we'll do a trade plan, and then let's see where the market is opening tomorrow. Where are all these stocks going to open tomorrow? That will possibly tell you what to do further. But first try with very small quantities or paper trading. See how things work. Some things will work exactly according to what I said. Other things will not work according to what I say. So take what is working perfectly and leave what is not working so well. I expect tomorrow to be a sideways day with both up and down volatility. So you have plans for both up and downside. Take care, trade well, and please consult your financial advisor.